You're thinking about going camping, but you're not sure how to get started. And you don't want to spend a lot of money on equipment before you decide if it's even right for you. Well, you've come to the right place. I'm Mark Gone Camping, and I've developed this series to help demystify and take the guesswork out of planning and executing a successful camping trip. I'm also going to drill down into equipment so when the time comes for you to make your purchases, you'll make good decisions. Okay, let's get started. First, why do so many people go camping? Well, the reasons are countless and it varies from person to person, but here's a few of the items on my list. I love the feeling I get when I plan a successful trip, pack everything up in the back of my car, and I head down the road to go out on an adventure, whether it's to a national park, near a lake, or even an ocean setting. I love those kinds of adventures. When I arrive at my destination, I notice how great it feels to be out in the outdoors in nature. And I'm beginning to feel changes from the way I was experiencing my life at home in my normal routine. Now I'm out and I'm seeing animals and trees and plants everywhere. And then there's the smells of maybe a pine forest or the sound of a stream that's going by near you, the hoot of an owl at night, the crackling of a campfire. All of these things contribute to a very cool experience. I can escape the barrage of online activities. All of us spend so much time on our phones, on our computers at home. This is a time to maybe not eliminate it, but reduce it down and then experience things out in the outdoors for a few days. I frequently take solo adventures, and I love the time where I can set my own schedule and I can have quiet time to introspect. But I also like to travel with my family and friends, to laugh and to catch up with people and just have a really enjoyable social time together. If you're in the years of raising children, I can't overstate the value of teaching your kids an appreciation for nature and for understanding the world around us better. And as your kids start to learn camping skills over time, it's going to make them more self-sufficient, and it's going to give them the ability to handle situations that come up unexpectedly and learning that they don't always just ask for help, but they can figure it out on their own. When you camp, you leave the comfort and convenience of your home and you travel to a more remote location. So it's important that you plan for the trip, and hopefully you cover all of the things that you're going to need for a successful trip. But if something unexpected happens, a piece of equipment fails, if you've got contingencies in place to deal with those kinds of things, they're much easier to handle. You're going to develop skills over time, and it's just going to make each trip more and more successful as you go. Who camps? Solo travelers, couples, young or seniors, or there's families. There's just every profile you can think of. And when I go out and I camp and I meet new people, either at the campground or out on a hiking trail or at an overlook, I find that there's a real benevolence generally between people who camp. They're all out having fun, and there's just a real camaraderie that goes along with camping. There are many ways to camp, and tent camping is the usual entry point for most people, although you can sleep under a tarp, under the stars, crash in the back of your vehicle. You can rent a cabin at a campground. You can modify an off-road vehicle like an SUV or a truck, and you equip it with off-road big tires, and it has arrangements for sleeping and cooking on board. Or you can go for more of a big hard-sided vehicle, whether you pull it behind your vehicle with a hitch, or you can have where it's the camper and it's the vehicle all in one, like a camper van or an RV. Many different ways to go camp. I recommend starting with tent camping, and then from there, as you develop skills, then consider branching out into other types of outdoor exploration. One area is getting into backpacking. Now with backpacking, you're going to be bringing equipment where they're designed to be generally lighter than what you would have just for regular tent camping, because you have to carry it on your back. And if you get involved in backpack, people typically train so that they have an endurance level, especially if they're going to hike over a certain distance. And you have to be prepared at a higher level If something goes wrong, you may not have cell phone coverage and you're much more removed from civilization in that type of an environment. And then as an offshoot of backpacking, some people get into what's called bushcrafting, or developing survival skills. You might go out into the wild, maybe it's on a backpacking trip, but you really bring minimal equipment that is from your home or from civilization, and you rely on what's out in nature to figure out how to maybe build a shelter or maybe make a chair, all those kinds of things with just the surroundings. Some people even like the challenge of camping in inclement weather, whether it's heavy rain, high winds, or cold conditions, maybe even with snow. Or you can do overlanding in a vehicle like a Jeep or an SUV or even a motorcycle, where you're going down dirt roads and you're looking for dispersed camping locations. If your style is comfort as you explore, then you'll probably want to move more toward one of those hard-sided vehicles where you're out and you're bringing many of the comforts from home, but you still get a chance to really get out and get around and explore unique and cool places and go hiking and all the things. But you're typically now not going into that overlanding off-road situation. Where should you go? Well, I would suggest starting with an established campground. It simplifies your first few visits while you're learning the ropes of camping. It's easy to find these places on the internet, whether it's a private campground or a local, state, or national run campground. Most of these places, you get an assigned campsite, place to park, generally flat area to pitch a tent, picnic table, fire ring, and then most of the time there are bathrooms that may have showers, so there's a lot of amenities to be added at an established campground. If you stick with camping, over time you may want to try out dispersed camping locations from time to time. And you can do internet research to find those kinds of locations. There are many apps that are set up that help you along with that whole thing. And on one hand, you are more remote, and so you're down maybe a forest road and you find a great location. But the advantage is it's free and you have a lot of privacy compared to what it would have been at the established campground. For the first few trips, wade in. Don't buy a lot of expensive equipment. If you have maybe a neighbor who camps, maybe you can borrow some equipment. If you do buy anything, look at used equipment on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or a neighborhood garage sale, and keep that expense to a minimum, or bring the necessities that you're going to need on the trip. Think about who will be traveling with you. Are you just going out by yourself, or are you going to be bringing people along that you might want to get them excited about camping so that they're going to want to go with you in the future? Well, you need to qualify them. And if there's somebody who probably wouldn't be that comfortable being in an environment with no showers for a couple of days, take that into account and maybe select a campground that has good facilities so that you're easing them in and you're not throwing them into the deep end right away. And for 1 or 2 nights. Don't go when the weather is really bad. If it's a couple of days before the trip and all of a sudden you find out it's going to rain for the weekend, well, reschedule it for another time. Don't put yourself in a difficult situation on your first trip. Plan a few activities at or near your campground, but don't overschedule. Go for a hike, observe wildlife, if there's a town nearby, maybe you go out and take a walk through the town, but don't overschedule it on the first trip. And then when you're hanging out at the campground, go for a walk through the campground. Look at other sites. See if you took another trip and came back to this place, which sites are the best ones to stay at. At night, you can do stargazing. You're preparing meals. Make them delicious but easy to make meals. After the trip, make note of what went well and what you do better on the next time. And if you really like camping, as I hope you do, then you start to plan for the next trip. In my next episode, I'll start to cover the equipment you'll need for a camping trip. And then in future episodes, we'll get into all aspects of camping so that you'll be able to make smart selections with equipment purchases, and you'll be able to plan and execute a successful camping adventure. If you're enjoying this content, please press the like button and consider subscribing to this channel so that you can follow along through all the episodes. And if you've been camping a few times, I'd love to hear your comments on what makes you love camping. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.